And welcome back, ladies and gents. We had a fantastic first game. Dragonborns really showing their worth there up against OM Injection, who, well, they tried their hand at the last relegations, couldn't quite make it against Evil Panda Squad, and they felt the same pain here today. But we're certainly not all done so far. We do have another match coming up, and it'll be the one and only Spale facing off against Alpha. Now, just about everyone knows Spale out there. The team with so much personality, it hurts. And sometimes they can be phenomenal. They can challenge and beat the very best out there, but some days they barely turn up. And it's heartbreaking to see them not quite making it to Gamescom because, well, they did so well towards the early start of the season. Even towards that early bit of the mid-season, they were doing very nicely. And then they just kind of let it slip away towards the end, and that's how they get down to the relegations, which is exactly what we're watching here. It's not quite the Gamescom finals, but we're very close to that as well. But guys, let's have a little look at Alpha against Spale. Let's have a little discussion and our thoughts towards it at least, because I know Spale inside out. These guys have been around since forever. But Alpha, I'm not too aware of. What are your thoughts towards these two?
Alpha, not such a bad team. I mean, they did finish 10th in Season 1, so they've got some good players in there. I mean, Manza comes to mind. But it's worth mentioning one thing before we do anything else. They got a little bit of a change-up in their lineup from Season 1. Paysums is going in. He's going to be one of their new players. And instead of him, we haven't got Mirage CZ, who was one of their key players in Season 1. So those two have been switched out. But everyone knows Spale, so we won't go through that one. I mean, apart from Eurofish, who's their team leader, Dovahkiin, who's one of their best players, and pretty much everyone in between, you know, Spale is who Spale is. They're just all of our favorite teams, and let's hope they pick themselves up in this one.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. They're a team that I love watching personally. I've always looked to them. They've had a bit of a bumpy ride. I had to put that name in there somewhere, just a little bit of a nod to a certain someone who I have seen in chat. But I don't know where to put my money on this one. Spale is so unpredictable, I just don't know. I want to put faith in them. They certainly have a lineup that's very capable, the likes of Dovahkiin, we've seen time and time again stepping up and doing extremely well. But whether or not he can do it here today is another matter. It's so hard to predict them. And Alpha are a new element to me. They're an unknown element. I'm not sure where I should even be looking towards these guys. Do you think they can really challenge Spale here today?
I'm hoping they can. I really am. The OM Injection didn't go so well against Dragonborns, and our previous relegation on Monday didn't go so well for the teams that are trying to vie for a space in Season 3. So I'm hoping Alpha is going to be that one-off exception. Last season they did actually get themselves kicked out, so they were on the receiving end of a harsh lineup. That was more what DE taking them out. So I'm hoping this season they can get themselves back into Season 3. Although I don't want to see Spale go either, so I'm really on the fence about this one because I want to see Spale stay in because they are such a great team, as you said, but I also want to see Alpha come back in and prove themselves that they are actually a top 6 finisher and really push themselves for Season 3 finals.
And that's the thing here. It's all about who can turn up on the day. As we said, we love Spale. They're a lovely bunch of guys. They're a great community team. They always put on a good show, but if they can't step up when it matters, they won't get into next season. It's as simple as that. It's all about the best teams being in this. And so far, every team we've had in Season 2 has proven to be the best team out there. These guys, the likes of Alpha and OM Injection, even Lucky Karaki, have fought their way through the various leagues and various ways to get, to be able to challenge the WoT Pro League teams, but they haven't been able to do it in any sort of capability that's knocked them off that real high spot that they put themselves on, that they deserve to be on. And obviously, we did mention before, the top 6 teams already getting themselves ready for Gamescom. They've been obviously practicing at home. We'll be seeing Dignitas, WoT Pro, Mouse, Kazna Crew as well. Thankfully, they made it another community favorite team, making their way there. But towards the game today, the second game today, I don't know where my money is. I'm going to back Spale just because it's Spale and I love them. I think they're a fantastic team and I want them to be back in, but whether or not they can actually do it, they're the most dangerous team for me to actually watch in that aspect. But I know a certain someone who can obviously get you guys involved in your thoughts towards what's going on involved and where your money depends. And, well, there's gold on the line as well, which does help the matter. So there's nothing stopping you guys from getting involved. So let's head over to the lovely lady herself, who can take you through exactly how you can get involved with us here at the studio. So Melly, how are we doing, my dear?
Well, pretty good. Pretty excited for the next matchup. And yes, your chance to be part of the show is, well, explained pretty simple. Just follow our social media platforms on Twitter and Facebook. And yeah, on Twitter you have the chance of asking questions and predicting as well. and we will be rewarding 3 tweets of the day. So just tweet me your opinions, your expectations of the game, of the matches, of the teams, and whatever else you like to tell us, to share with us. And maybe you will get lucky and get one of 3 bonus codes for the tweets of the day. And the next thing is Facebook, of course. I will put up a post where you can predict the exact outcome of the matchup and also get the chance to win one of 2 bonus codes. And it's pretty simple. Just predict how the match will come out, and if you're right, you will get the code. If I choose you. Well, the next thing is we still have our cheerful contest running, and I uploaded an album on our Facebook page with all the submissions we got during the last week. We started last week on Monday, I guess, or was it Tuesday? I'm not sure.
I think it was around Monday. I think.
It's something in between. Could be Wednesday. It could have been Wednesday. Well, let's have a look through the album and to the cheerfuls we already got.
I love his jacket there. That's an awesome jacket.
Representing Britain. Good
That's
to
what
see.
we like to see.
Good to see.
Good man. We like that. That's very nice. And he's sporting De Nova as well. Good side.
Where's
Good
that
side to be
berry,
behind.
man? Where's that berry? Should be wearing that. Definitely a
All
cadet.
right.
Definitely
What
a
else
cadet.
do we have going on here?
So next one.
WoT Pro
WoT
fan.
Pro, yeah.
There's some good
Dodgy
drawings.
stuff there.
Oh, and I like the Dignitas logo. Eek. I like that. In the little bottom there. That's very cool. He's
It
got,
looks
he's got
really
detail.
concerned.
Indeed, the worried Team Dignitas. So I can see why. Let's keep going.
So that's from a certain someone.
Oh, wow. I know exactly who that's from. That's Skyen. Now, Skyen is an incredible... He makes these amazing comics. Check out his Twitter. If you can see it up there, that guy is absolutely astounding. Make sure you check him out. If you can't read it,
Really
it's just
fun
TB
stuff.
Skyen. If you follow League, he does brilliant comics. So it's nice to see him involved, for sure. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Next one.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Dragonborn's fighting with a paintball mask.
That is cool. Magus Hero. Oh, and the T1 in there. That is pretty cool.
How's that T1 called?
The LOL
Laughter.
tractor.
Let's have a look to the next one.
Kazna Crew fan, like it.
Yeah.
He's got some very hairy arms, though. Like, I'm not going to lie. That's worrying.
Oh, Lauren.
What? I'm a big fan of Kazna Crew, but hell. That's a manly man right there. Manly man.
Demon's the same,
Indeed.
isn't he?
Yeah, Demon does have a whole, like, coat of hair.
So
Oh
next
my
one,
God.
Oh, that's pretty scary.
That's terrifying.
But,
Wow.
well, Kazna
Zombie
Crew
for the win.
Stephen, is that you?
Oh, that's me.
You can't post pictures of in our own competition, man. Come on. Play the rules.
Next one. Let's switch to the next one.
Oh, now that's cool. Liking a bit of the Iron
Mr.
Man in
Iron
there.
Man himself.
Very cool.
That
got
is
the More
actually
G.
a caster of more WoT.
Ah, very nice.
Leonard Nebus-Sieden. He's doing the German cast for
Very
the
cool.
Go For Cups.
Awesome.
Nice.
Wow. That's a detailed one.
Yeah.
Flawless victory. Kazna Crew? That's ambitious. That's ambitious. I love him too, but still very ambitious there. Kazna Crew. Woof. He's got faith.
Indeed.
He's got faith.
Indeed. Yes. Next one.
Ah, the serious.
I really like the
WoT
tank
Pro.
drawing
That's
on that.
awesome.
That is really good drawing.
It's
Wow.
really detailed and pretty good. So these are some examples for a cheerful.
Oh, and look who that
That's
is.
Fine.
Look who that is.
Not quite Skyen, but getting there, man.
Yeah, indeed. It'll work on it. I see in the background some abuse going on there. World of Tanks with a love heart.
And
you
my
know.
arm is covering Stephen. Well, he wrote his name on the board.
Yeah.
I want to be in that picture. I placed my arm in the perfect spot.
Good
as it
work there.
seems.
Very good work.
Of course, not on purpose.
Uh-huh.
Well, some examples for a cheerful fan sign for cheering for your favorite team. Just we still have a couple hours left, I guess. We will hopefully not a couple hours, because we will have some exciting and fast matches. So sharpen your pencils and start drawing. Get yourself in the competition. You still have the chance to win 5,000 gold. First place gets 5,000 gold, and second place 3,000. Third place 1.5k, and up to sixth place, I said from fourth to sixth.
Oh, look at
bonus
you
codes.
being
Yeah,
nice.
I am indeed.
Nice
So
lady. Get involved.
Get involved, exactly.
That's all we like to hear. And they were some incredible submissions, guys. I may take the mick, but they were absolutely awesome. Bless Stephen trying to get involved as well with his little mask on, trying to look better for us.
Oh.
He's got to try and look nice for the camera for once. Bless him. If you did watch Season 1, I can only apologise. But anyway, you might know Alpha from Season 1. With that in mind, I do believe they are actually ready to get the tank picks underway. So it will be Alpha facing off against Spale, the community favourites. Now, I know you've got a bit of history about these two, so why don't you take us through what we might be seeing here?
So Alpha against Spale, it's never really gone Alpha's way. Spale in match day 5 took it 3-0, so complete crushing in a best of 5. And then match day 16, Alpha had one map, so they went 3-1. So they kind of clawed their way back through Season 1. Perhaps that's indicative of how they're playing better and better. But, you know, sitting in 10th place, 5 wins, 17 losses in Season 1 is not a great way to go down, and they did go down at the hands of WoT. But hopefully their new player, Paysums, is going to bring their team up again. Perhaps some training. They did finish second in A-Series this season behind Lucky Karaki. So, yeah, tank picking continues. Double T1 for both teams. His is Himmels also. We're expecting normal tanks all round. IS3 AMX 5100 from Spale. Double AMX 5100 from the side of Alpha. AMX 5100 T69 from Spale, being mirrored, but with the IS3 instead of the AMX 5100 from the side of Alpha. And then we've got an IS3, and the final pick for Alpha will be a T32. So a lot of different tanks, well, the same tanks, but the different tank being the T32 for Spale.
So, welcome into the first map here. It will be the one and only Alpha starting to the north in the blue colour, whereas in the south, in the gold and yellow, it will be Spale. So, having a look here on the city map, we've seen a very standard start from most teams on this, but there's been some variations thrown in the relegation. So, I'm looking at these teams to bring something a little new out, something fresher. But will they do it? I don't know. That's all we're seeing so far.
So Alpha playing pretty standard stuff. A couple of tanks going left, a couple of tanks going right. Looks like Spale's going to play something completely different. They're going to push all their tanks straight into the middle. You can see them on their screen from the side of Alpha. Agaha, Eurofish, Dovahkiin going straight in. First shell being exchanged. Dovahkiin's going to want to receive it. But is Spale doing another one of their crazy suicides? We're going to have to wait and see.
Well, I think they are. Eurofish already on the brunt of one shell there, being taken down a fair way. That T32 loving this push at the moment, but he will be surrounded soon, so needs to be a little bit careful. Needs to be careful of just about everyone around him right now as they are making their way forward. It's Eurofish and Agaha pushing right around the back. Oh, lovely connections coming through. Agaha getting taken down himself, though. But you can see that T32 is being hammered from just about every angle. Agaha is tracked by the likes of Jero, but now the IS3 springing into gear. Eurofish pushing forward towards the opposition. These guys are known for their aggression. Eurofish furthering forward on 656. Here comes the T69 to back him up. Oh, lovely shot coming in from Eurofish, stopping him in his tracks, quite literally. And this is an extremely aggressive start here. So, Mokialumi and Muppety just around the corner. The Alpha side are being pincered in once again. Jero is now being hammered from the rear and the sides. Mokialumi receives a shell, knocked down to 7-4-3, but Jero is in a world of trouble. 1-5-2, Muppety looking to finish this one off, and he does do just that, taking him down. But Mokialumi now on the rear end and on the receiving end of that T69, but now surrounded himself, left on 104 HP. He's trying to get the hell away from the situation, but he has no luck in that aspect as Muppety will just clear up the remains. But here come those AMX 5100s. Will it be too little too late, Ollie?
I think it's going to be way too little too late. This 5100s are too far out of position for too long a time. They did come around as the Dovahkiin. They did fail to take him down. Then they were definitely reloading after that. First they're going to exchange. They're going to push onto Mapiti and Mokilumi here.
Yeah, trying to make their way forward, being as aggressive as Spale were, but they certainly can't pull it off in such great style. They have taken down Dovahkiin in that T69, and they do have a slight HP advantage until the likes of Eurofish come around from behind in that AMX 5100 and knock them down to only 217. As well, there goes the last remaining aggressive member of the Alpha side, leaving only the poor, frail and fragile tier 1s. It seems as though it's too little too late for this flag cap. It's a little ambitious at best of times, but maybe, just maybe, they've got something up their sleeve here.
Well, 1 minute and 15 seconds left. They're going to have something miracle up their sleeves, that's for sure. They can be taking out the T1, no problem at all. So that T1 is gone off the hill. The only thing left for the side of Alpha is their own T1. 1 minute left on the cap. It'll take Eurofish about 20 to 30 seconds to get back to that church. So he'll have plenty of time at all. But he is on 44 HP. Eurofish is going to try and connect the first shell. He doesn't do it. I think he actually tracks that T1, so very unlucky for him. But the second shell will surely finish it off. Eurofish and Spale do it again. What a fantastic push from them.
Wow, for once it paid off, I think is the only way I can look at that. For once. And I felt a little bit unnerved by that T32. Initially, great connections, great damage over that middle section. Took two, fairly aggressive tanks from Spale down quite low, but then they just pincered round and wiped the floor with Alpha. How could have Alpha dealt with that? Because Spale, when they go aggressive against maybe the likes of WoT Pro or Dignitas, it doesn't ever work out on this map, or is it very rarely working out for them? But what went right in that game for them, and what went wrong for Alpha?
We've seen that tactic fail so many times for Spale. I think it's one of those tactics which I only see, go straight to when I say Spale doing stupid pushes. But the fact that Alpha had two of the AMX 5100, which is their two main damage-dealing tanks, straight out of position, they should have had them where we saw Dragon Balls push. Will have them last time. They had them back in their base around their cap area. Yeah, but Alpha had it in the wrong position. The AMX 5100s came around too late. Dovahkiin even connected a couple of shells, taking down to about 1k each. And then they tried to push in around, but they came back down as they were reloading. So they're both sitting on 40 seconds reload. Try to come in too little too late, as you said. Couldn't finish off the, the 2 or 3, I think it was 3 tank lead for Spale. So, a couple of tanks out of position. It's on Himmelsdorf. Spale pushing hard. T32 had no protection at all from his whole team. He was out on a limb. He didn't expect to get focused down quite as quickly as he was. Even that was even from quite a tentative push from Spale. They didn't go straight in. They kind of bided their time. Even Dovahkiin took a couple of shots before he managed to get himself into the action. So, yeah, tanks out of position, tanks reloading perhaps too early. That was all that it took for Spale to undo Alpha.
Yeah, always keep protection with you guys. So we will be going to the second map here, which will be Ensk, and we're getting the tank picking underway. What are we seeing so far?
Okay, double T1s from the side of Spale and Alpha. Two very interesting picks, or not, the pretty standard picks for Ensk. IS3 T69 for the side of Alpha, being going to be mirrored by the side of Spale. So at the moment, mirrored picks. We did see the same on Himmelsdorf. Both teams picked the same tanks apart from that last T32 for Alpha. So guys, you've got to remember with tank pickings, teams never pick the unusual tanks first. I mean, if you're like Dragonborns, where like every tank you picked was unusual on Prokhorovka, then obviously you're going to pick it at some point before the last pick. So, but on this one, if you're going to pick one tank unusually, you got to pick it last, because then it's a surprise and the other team can't.
The ace up the sleeve,
exactly,
almost, isn't it? They
can't counter it. So, double AMX 5100 is the latest pick from Alpha. So they're going for that high damage French tank autoloader. You got to remember though, it does have a long reload, 40 seconds, which can be disastrous. It's often the winning tank for the teams, but as quite too often, in my opinion, the losing tank for the team. So that just pretty much says that there's no tank really that can replace it. There's no tank that does enough damage in a short space of time, which isn't an autoloader in World of Tanks repertoire of tanks. Last pick from the side of Alpha will be that T69. So standard picks from them so far. Just waiting on the side of Spale to do their last pick. I think they will also go for a T69. Although, quite strangely enough, Alpha's actually picked double T69, so they are going for quite an unusual lineup. Just going to be if they can use those T69s well. Often when teams pick the 269s, they are going to be pushed over that green zone or perhaps the middle area. Last pick from Spale will be the IS-3, the Russian Tier 8 heavy tank, favorited on so many maps. Double AMX 5200, one IS-3, double T69, two T1s. For the side of Alpha, Spale going for something more typical, double AMX 5200, double IS-3, T69, double T1. It's going to be about how that second T69 is being used by Alpha.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Maybe they've got a little bit of something up their sleeve. We've seen very rarely those additional tanks being thrown on this map. I feel as though Ensk is kind of becoming a Himmelsdorf in the essence that every tank is almost pre-planned.
Yeah.
And it's quite standard now. You know, you're not going to see a random bit of arty coming in, especially on a city map, even when it was a viable option, even though we saw it doing quite a bit of damage in the last match. So I do believe both teams are almost ready, or at least Alpha is. Countdown from 10 this time would be lovely. I'm pretty sure sometimes these teams have issues with counting from 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a hard thing, you know, counting. I get a bit confused when I run out of fingers, you know, from 11 up. It's baffling. If only I was from the West Country. Anyway, I do believe both teams are ready now, and we are going to get the countdown underway, and we will be seeing Ensk. It's a matter of if Alpha can turn the tides and take on the likes of Spale. And welcome into the second map here. It will be Ensk, and starting in the northern blue colours, it will be the new kids on the block, the likes of Alpha, facing off against the golden yellow, one and only Spale. Now, we saw an aggressive start from Spale before, but whether or not they can do it again is a completely different matter. This is normally not a map that allows for that just flat-out aggression, but they're a team that likes to switch it up a little bit, to say the least. But what are we seeing early on from these guys?
Spale playing quite defensively. You can see Agger in his AMX 5100 to the left. Eurofish has gone forwards with Muppety in his IS-3. Getty's going to be spotting that 3-4 road. He's going to be doing that in the T1. Dovahkiin's well, he's in quite a normal position, although slightly to the right. You usually see him sitting up out around here instead of along the long railroad. Maki Lumi's going to be there to back him up. The Kempi's going to be on the green side to back him up as well, to spot the green side, to try and stop any T1s from spotting out, you know, Dovahkiin and Muppety. On the side of Alpha, they've gone quite slowly towards the green side. You know, you can see the T1s, the AMX 200. I said, you know, the double T69s. The only way they can really work against a team is if they use on that green zone. You can see the IS-3 being spotted out. Dovahkiin does get himself tracked. He's got to get himself out there. Very luckily managing to do so, repairing his track within a matter of seconds. Shots being exchanged. No damage so far, though. Alpha quite defensive here. They don't want to push forwards, and they just got to do that, because with those two T69s, they just got to find the weakness and then exploit it, not just push straight in. Yeah,
and I think after the start, obviously, that they received on Himmelsdorf, they might be just being a little bit cautious of the likes of Spale just charging at them, but they are sending their two T69s down that 6 and 7 line. Kempi has been spotted there. T1 exchange going down. Spale getting the better of the opposition in that little skirmish as such, but I'm curious as to what these T69s are up to, Ollie.
Yeah, just pushing straight down. They're going to find Dovahkiin very quickly, but it's a long straight road to be honest. If Dovahkiin or the Muppety were in there to deal with them, they would be in some serious trouble. But now they've destroyed some of the cover, some of the foliage. They're going to be spotted straight away. The Kempi's going to be there. Mokilumi's going to get caught out straight in the middle. There's actually engagement between the T69s and the I3 here.
Yeah, the T69's got an absolute mission right now, challenging Mokilumi right out of the gate, taking him down to 80 HP, and they need to finish him off fast, and they have done just that. Mokilumi goes down. Dovahkiin is not far behind, though, and I'll be worried now, because surely Spale know exactly what they're up to.
That was a perfect play to play for an Alpha. Absolutely perfect. They just came around, they found, I'm not sure if it was perfect or just lucky, they came around, they found the IS-3 completely in the open. Look at him. Yep. I don't know what he's doing there. And it was just perfect perfect connections. They damaged every shell. Spale were completely nowhere to be seen. They were sitting around this place where Muppety is. They couldn't react to it. Dovahkiin couldn't go on his own because he knew the T69s would have connected at least 1 or 2 shells onto him, so they would have taken him down as well. So at least he might have been reloading as well. So that comes into the equation. But so far, Alpha have the advantage. They pushed in forwards. 2 T69s, I said, are so useful over those straight roads towards the green side, and they use them perfectly, finding the weakness and exploiting it.
Yeah, and I'm highly impressed at that. You called it absolutely right then, that they had to be almost the spearhead of anything that Alpha wanted to do, and they did just that. So you did see them push up that 6 and 7 line. Now the MX-5100s are getting on the action, rotating their way around the flag. But the exchange my eyes are now on is the T69 catching Kempe off guard as well, so he should get that one, and he does. So avenging his fallen teammate and just furthering the points into the advantage of Alpha. So if you look at the top of your screen, guys, you will see obviously the tier point advantage now, the blue side, which is Alpha leading the way, but now the rest of Spale are almost showing themselves here. That tier 1 will be taken down, but it's exposed enough of Spale that surely Alpha can understand exactly where they are now, and it looks as though Spale are heading in. Now this could be an all-or-nothing strategy again, and looking how passive Alpha are, they're just waiting to receive. Eurofish receives the first bit of damage dealt, and they could be in trouble here.
Yeah, Dovahkiin taking another one, 217. Quite good shots from him. Spale doing another couple. I don't know why that AMX-51 is just straight in the open. He will get himself focused down by Eurofish. Team captain doing good job there, but now Dovahkiin's in trouble.
Yeah, Dovahkiin has surrounded himself there, trying to tuck into the corner. Aguilar is receiving a couple of shells, knocked down to 375. Eurofish standing beside like a big brother. Excuse me, coming in at the last second. Knocking the T69 from Alpha down to only 49 HP. Now look at Jaro, now surrounded by Muppety and Dovahkiin, who was previously in so much trouble, now has turned the tides. 2-on-6 dealt. Now shells coming in left, right, and center. Spale are completely and utterly folding onto the likes of Alpha. There goes the IS-3 that was their almost pivotal player there, holding them at bay. And now they need to claw this one back. Muppety pushing forward in the IS-3, on the hunt still, looking for that lone T69, I do believe, and he's trying to get him down. He does do just that. Muppety claiming another. So now they need to find the remains of what is Alpha. After a perfect start, they've just let this slip through their fingers. But they certainly have a chance here. Eurofish, desperately damaged. 176 is all he has. Trying to get away. Oh, he gets caught in their heels and taken out swiftly. And Eurofish does go down at the hands of the MX-5100. Now focus onto Muppety. He's been taken low. 113. Spale is being undone as we speak. Just about returning fire. And now you can see they're on the back foot HP-wise. IS-3 and 5100 left to challenge a T69 and 5100. I want to see how this one goes down. The T69 is getting the hell out of there. Oh, Muppety just missing his shot. But can the MX-5100 wait to catch the rotate? This is a tense situation.
Aggo's going to try and push him with Muppety. It's all about focusing down that T69. They know the MX-5100 is reloading. Brilliant little hip shot from Muppety coming out. But, you know, Spale, they had the advantage for a few seconds, but Alpha came straight back into it. It's 3 against 1. You know, Spale have that Argetti in the T1, so they will be able to use that to cap, but it's going to be little or nothing for them. T1 will still take 1 minute and 40 seconds the cap. You can see Spale turning themselves straight around. They're going to go for the cap indeed, so 3 of them will bring the cap down to about 40 seconds. And, you know, if they can do it, it's going to be extremely close, because Muppety on 113, he's going to be in trouble if he gets caught out. And now we can see Alpha also going to want to be pushing in towards the cap. They set themselves in there. 43 seconds left. They've got three people in. That's even a Spale pushing for the cap. And if they can hold on here, then it's going to be incredible, because I don't think they can. I think those autoloads are going to come in and they're just going to brutalize Spale.
Well, we're going to find out with 30 seconds remaining. Oh, 17, excuse me. Well, the Alpha side need to get moving and pretty sharpish. 10 seconds now on the clock for the likes of Spale to walk away with this one. They are desperately damaged. Here comes that 5100, spotting Aguilar immediately. They need to get some fire, and oh my god, he's gone down, and it looks like Spale will actually claim this one. Or was that right on the wire? Oh my god, it got reset at the last second, as now all the pressure is on that lone T69 to claw this one back, and it's too little, too late. And Spale, oh my word, how are they holding on to this? I don't know, they're not. Yes, they are. Spale actually got that one.
They got it. They got it. They won it by capping.
Oh my word.
Fantastic. Really fantastic by them. I mean, it was literally the difference between like 2 seconds. Okay, they're going to...
It was a second. It was right on that 1 second, and it got reset just.
Yeah.
But then they held on again.
Yeah. That's what Spale is. I mean, this is the team...
Damn it, Spale.
This is the team that's been Virtus twice. They beat them last season, they beat this team this season. I mean, they're just beating all the top teams. When they play like this, They are just unbelievable. Like that second, which they won it, was the second they said, okay, we're not going to push back to where we know where Alpha is. We're going to go back to the Alpha's cap. We're going to put ourselves in the cap. And then that one play by, I think it was Marpetti in his IS3, he pushed forwards. He had the MX-5100 behind and the T1 to the left. And then as soon as the MX-5100 came in from Alpha towards the left of the building, 2 shots, done. Like, it was perfect. Like, that was ambushing to the next level. You know, they knew exactly where he was going to come from. They predicted it perfectly, took him out within a few seconds. He didn't have enough time to aim or shoot, and that was game over. That T69 just came in too late. If it was a little bit quicker, like an AMX-3090, he would have been able to make it. And that is with one IS3 down for Spale. Like, they came back in spectacular fashion. Losing a tier 8 tank on a city map is usually be all end all. It's you're
game
like
over
you're game
normally.
over like 90% of the time. And Spale just at 10%, just brilliant.
I don't even know what to make of that. That has actually rendered me speechless. And that's a rarity for me, because normally I can talk the legs off a donkey, but they certainly turned up then. And just go watch the replay of that when it comes out and look how close that clock was. Taking down that 5100 was literally the saving grace of Spale then. Otherwise, it would have been game over for them almost.
It would have been.
Spale, you do it to me again. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a heart attack at the age of 25 because of these guys. But yeah, I do believe they are almost ready for picking into the next map. And Spale are up now 2 maps, which is quite impressive for them. Normally they like to keep it close, but maybe it's all going to change. It will be Prokhorovka next. And last time we saw this, or even just moments ago, it was a bit of a strange battle. We saw artillery coming back into the mix, which I still think is viable after watching that. Maybe not to the extent that the Dragonborns used it, but in some aspect, I think there's certainly room for it. It definitely would stop what we saw from the likes of Lucky Karaki coming out. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing at all.
But we are going to get ready with the tank picks. Let's have a little look to see what they're going for so far.
So Spale's going to be the first one to pick. They're going to take 2 T1s as per usual. It's usually the first picks from the 2 teams. Same is going to come from Alpha, 2 T1s. Spale's going to reply with the double AMX-3090. We're expecting them to pick probably like 3, along with a couple of T69s. Again, guys, it's all about which team picks 3 MX-3090, which team picks 2 MX-3090s. Obviously, if a team picks 3, then they're going to pick 2 T69s with that, well, most of the time at least. And if they pick 2, then they've got to pick 3 T69s. So they kind of exchange between the high burst damage, the speed from the MX-3090. Well, I guess the burst damage comes to the T69, but the speed from the MX-3090, the higher average damage in terms of all 6 shells it can do, 1,440 to the 1,000-ish of the T69s. But tank picking is continuing. Spale taking 2 MX-3090s as well. Double T69 coming out from Alpha, being replied with the same from Spale. So at the moment, pretty standard. We're expecting at least a couple more MX-3090s for both teams. Indeed, Alpha picks 1 more, and also does Spale. Bless you, Melly. T69 from Spale will be their last pick. Just waiting for the side of Alpha, I think. Going to go for an AMX-3090 or perhaps a WZ-132 between those 2 tanks, I think. But at the moment, pretty standard lineups. Spale's taking double AMX-3090, 3 T69, so going for that faster, faster damaging tanks. 2 double T1. It looks like we got the same from the side of Alpha. They're picking the T69 as the last one. So they're going for that double AMX-3090. Triple T69, double T1. So similar lineups. Yeah. In fact, the same lineups, I do believe. On Prokhorovka, a little bit interesting because usually the team from the south picks the double T69. They have picked double T69s. Alpha's picked 3 T69. Well, I think 4 actually. Yeah, they picked 4 T69s. My bad. Yeah, I can't read sometimes.
Told
but yeah,
you, West Country.
Yeah, 4 T69s. Double AMX-3090 for them. Not double AMX-3090, 1 AMX-3090, double T1. Yeah. So quite strange lineups from Alpha. They're going for something a little bit more kind of situational. The 4 T69s, it can do a hell of a lot of burst, but how is it going to get into those situations? They're going to have to play a lot of hull down. They're going to have to play a lot in the middle, not get over towards those flanks too much, not trying to push them around too much. Well, Spale have that advantage because they have at least 2 MX-3090s, which are so often used in kind of pack situations.
Yeah, we're going to have to find out. This could be the undoing now of Alpha. They need to turn up now. It's not going to be easy against the likes of Spale. There's certainly a side who are showing exactly what they're made of. Let's find out on Prokhorovka. And welcome into the third map here. It will be Prokhorovka. We saw it before and we're going to see it again. But starting in the south, in that lovely shade of blue, it will be Alpha who needs to turn the tides now. It's slipping away from them and into the hands of Spale in that golden yellow starting towards the north. So what are we seeing from these two very early on here?
Dovahkiin, Eurofish, Egerha, pretty much everyone from Spale is pushing straight up the middle. They are a team, as I say so often, that likes just to push straight up somewhere. Dovahkiin to the right, Eurofish to the left. We're going to see them try and get a couple of shots into Alpha. Dovahkiin's going to go straight forward as the MX-3090. He's trying to get some spots out, know exactly where Alpha's going. He has indeed found the MX-3090. Alpha doing something pretty usual. They've gone towards the village area. I think that's where Spale wants to try and discourage Alpha from going, because with those 4 T69s, the MX-90s pretty much stand no chance at all. Dovahkiin, pretty risky play from him right now. He's gone straight forwards, pretty much expecting Alpha not to have any tanks here. The T69 is going to get spotted out. He's not going to be able to connect the first shell because there is a T1 there. First shell is connected though. Dovahkiin not taking any damage. First shell to the side of Alpha will take down the T69 to 847. So straight away, Spale have the HP advantage.
Yeah, but now Muppety is in a little bit of trouble. The likes of Jero have caught on to exactly where he was, but Dovahkiin pushing round as well. This is going to be a tough situation for the likes of Alpha to deal with. They really do need to split their attention throughout this map and make sure they keep eyes on just about everywhere possible these guys can peer from. Oh, great shot coming from Dovahkiin, catching those T69s right in the rear, smacking one forward right into the iron sights, or sights of, I believe it's Muppety. So already knocking one T69 down to 842. The likes of Eurofish now peering up. There's no way you can escape when Spale want you down. 385. He is literally being herded in between these positions as the last, the other T69 who pushed down towards their own flag or stayed a little bit more defensive is now receiving a bombardment of shells as the main exchange towards the center of this map is going down. It's going blow for blow, back and forth between these two. The T69s are falling, but finally Jaro does manage to get one back, and now Agerha and Jaro are going at it at the moment. Mokialumi being taken down to 638. Jero backing away a touch, but the base is being capped. Spale are not giving them a second to breathe here, and now the T69s who got so damaged early on are finally getting a little bit of revenge, taking down Dovahkiin, dishing a little bit of revenge back and forth, but Mokialumi finally puts that T69 to bed after so much damage being dealt, as now Mokialumi looks to take it further. 25 seconds left on the cap as well. It's all very much falling down to moments like this. Agerha joining in on the pressure, making sure the likes of Alpha's backs are truly up against the wall. The T69s are being focus fired as we speak. Another will fall, and now only 3 remain for Alpha as this game is being ripped away from them with 5 seconds remaining. It could all be over in just a matter of seconds, and Spale, in absolutely astounding fashion, have once again stepped up when you least expect it. That was amazing play from them. I can't believe it. That's the Spale we know and love. The aggressive side who just completely, challenges on every front. They focus the fire down. They get it done. And I felt so bad for that T69 from Alpha. Wherever he went, Spale were waiting. I thought, oh, there could be a bit of a change here. In that village section, they're like, well, Alpha can do some work from here if they play it correctly. But Spale didn't give them a second to move. Anywhere they went, they were exposed somewhere, and they just exploited it throughout. That was fantastic from Spale.
That was even better than Dinova did against Spale and themselves. If you remember that Dinova match, they kind of pincered them, but Spale did it like picture perfect. I think just what's great about Spale is that, when they play like that, they're not playing because of they've practiced it a lot, because I don't think they're a team that practices a lot.
Yeah.
That was just like pure natural talent. That was pure natural play. Like Eurofish coming up there, Dovahkiin taking his time with his shots, doing a lot of damage to that T69, and then it was Eurofish's turn. Coming up, doing his damage, and then the T69s came in just to herd them, like a sheepdog. The T69 was there, 367 HP, a couple of connections from the T69s. Then the whole of Alpha tried to push in, which was a good move.
They had to do something at that point.
Exactly, they had to do something. They had to push in. They did quite a lot of damage, but the point at which Alpha lost it was when Mokialumi actually took out, I think it was Jaro in his T69. Yeah. He connected the shell onto his turret, which meant that Alpha suddenly had the disadvantage. They only had like 2 or 3 tier 8 tanks to, the 3 or 4 of Spale. So suddenly they didn't have the HP or the damage they could do it. And then to put the icing on the cake, Spale put their T1s in the cap almost immediately as soon as they pushed. And then that's what ultimately won it for them. Although I think they would have also won the city engagement if it continued.
The one thing I've got to say about this so far, in all the games from Relegation that we've seen, the teams coming out of the WoT Pro League Season 2, you know, who are actually already in there from, you know, 1st to 12th, have proven their worth. They've shown exactly why they made it there in the first place and the progression they've made playing against the best.
Exactly.
And it's just, the proof is right in front of you there. There's nowhere else you can look going, well, you know, there's a good team out there that could really challenge these guys. I don't think they're that good. Well, I think we've just seen how good they are. Even like your Spale, who have like on and off days, they're literally hot and cold all the time. It's very hard to read them, and you never know where they're going to be in a game.
Yep.
You know, sometimes the aggression plays off, sometimes it doesn't. And they did finish 8th overall in the actual season rankings. And you know, that's out of the top 6. That's no going to Gamescom. That's a fairly disappointing result for them, considering how well they've played. But then you put them against anyone else at the moment, and they still step up. It just shows the absolute class of every single team that's actually in the WoT Pro League, especially going into Season 3. I can only imagine what we're going to be seeing in that. The little bit of evolution that we might get from these teams, that little bit of progression from watching the demos back, watching the VODs back, and going, okay, well, let's pull this out. We're already seeing Dragonborns changing things up, which is, it's a dangerous, dangerous time for teams out there. But guys, that was our thoughts towards the games at least. And I don't... My prediction was right that Spale stayed in it, but it wasn't a tactical decision. It was, I like Spale. I hope they stay in. I've seen them a lot. They're a team with a lot of personality, and I love that. I like a team that you can go, that's a Spale tactic.
Exactly.
You can see it immediately, like that push on Himmelsdorf. It may not always work, but when it pays off, it looks pretty cool. And they just fly out there and they give whatever they can. Sometimes they get slapped back in the face and have to take it up on the second map, but it's Spale. Simple as that. And it's nice to see them staying in there. Alpha did give it a good try. They're a good side. They certainly had, you know, fairly good tactics. It wasn't executed, but then you saw glimpses of brilliance. So at T69 play on Ensk especially, when, you know, both of them pushed forward, they found, I think it was an IS-3, just completely out of position, hammered them down, instant advantage.
Yeah.
Stuff like that it should kind of shake the likes of Spale.
I think against a worse team than Spale, and when Spale's on form like they were today, Alpha would have won.
Oh,
I think,
certainly.
honestly, I think Alpha would have come back and won it. I think, you know, against a campy Mort D like we saw on Monday, who looked pretty weak, I think Alpha would have blown them away. That moment of sheer brilliance just completely, you know, would have caught them off surprise in that IS3, as you said, getting taken down. But Spale, when they're on today, they are Virtus Pros beaters. They are Team Dignitas. They're the thorn in the side. And, you know, I'm so looking forward to it. The 2 teams we've seen today are the 2 out of the 3 teams I want to see in Season 3. Denova's been picking themselves up a lot.
Sure.
They're really playing well. They are doing so good. I really want to see how they progress, 4th place finishes. And also we've got Dragonborns. They seem to have got their roster together. They're going to be pushing forwards. How many changes they'll have in Season 3 in terms of players, we're going to have to wait and see. But Spale, staying in Season 3, pushing themselves. I don't want to sound like a broken clock, but I always say they're going to push. They're always going to be the Season 3 team. And so I never said they're the Season 2 team. I've always said they're Season 3. So let's hope they at least do something for me, because they don't do very much for me often. So let's hope they continue improving. They go into Season 3 with a fresh attitude, which they need. So a fresh outlook at tactics, perhaps a little bit more cautionary play, although we do love a good Spale push. And then if they do that, top 3, if not top 2.
Yeah, I think I can always look at Kaznakru as a team with a good balance between the aggression and the defensive play.
Yeah.
And I think Kaznakru are one of the teams that used to be a little bit Spale-esque at times when they had those kind of crazy strats. They played a little bit, you know, more personality than strategic, and it didn't pay off. And then they kind of got themselves together for this season, or at least the later part, and they finished 5th. You know, they were top 3 for a solid bit of time as well. They certainly challenged the best. But, you know, this season has been phenomenal. But, you know, that's our thoughts for now on this one. We've got a lot more to say, but I know someone who knows exactly what you've been saying and all the questions that you might have for us here, and hopefully nothing about fruit. Hopefully you weren't put through the draw fest we had. But anyway, let's pass over to the one and only Melly and see exactly what's going down in social media town. How are we doing, Melly?
We're good. Well,
Well,
congratulations to Spale for keeping their slot in the Pro League, for promoting to this third season. Oh, wow. Already 3rd season. Time is passing by, people. Well, the community was sure for Spale staying in the Pro League. I don't know if you have something to do with that.
I
with
don't
your
know what you're talking about.
enthusiasm. And yeah, but we had 2 people. Well, it was pretty hard to get 2 people because the community knew the outcome would be something like 3-0 or 3-1. And we had so many, I don't know if we had ever so many right predictions in one match.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Poor old Alpha.
But congratulations to Maria and Eleni. You're both getting bonus codes. It's nice to see women names in the comment section. It's getting more and more. What? Oh, no. It's
Voices in your head,
voices
mate,
in my
don't
head.
worry. She's
Oh,
going
it
mental.
happens.
It's okay. She's
is
in a
what
room with
you've done to
Steven.
me.
It kind of happens. We all go a little bit mad.
Okay, but questions first, or the winner of our cheerful contest? What do you want to have first?
Oh, I think questions
It's a big
first.
choice.
It's a big choice. Yes, indeed, my friend. Well, first question from Fire here. Can the maps and the site you start on the map actually make that much of difference to tactics?
Yeah, of course. I mean, maps aren't symmetrical, so of course they can. I mean, if you start from, let's say, south on mines, which is not part of our, not on mines, on a cliff, which is not part of our map pool, but it has been in the past, then perhaps you have a little bit of a disadvantage because there's that hill towards the actual cliff, towards where the lighthouse is, where you can go up and you can spoil the hot left flank. On mines, for instance, we have the southern spawn, which is definitely favoured towards artillery because you have the houses and stuff where you can put them behind. But from the north, you have it favoured for the tanks because they can actually push up that hill and they've got those bushes there to snipe the hill as well. So, yeah, of course, maps are favoured. We took Y Park out of the map pool this season because it was clear that the northern spawn of Y Park was heavily favoured towards, heavily gave the teams a win. So many teams were picking it just because they knew it was like a guaranteed win for them. So, yeah, of course it is. But the maps we have at the moment, overall, very balanced. We can't really see it as a map where teams are winning a lot more from some side. If there is, then of course we will remove it and look for another map. But in general, yes, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is, do you believe that in Pro League, the team that decides to attack first is the team that usually loses?
I think it's kind of hard to answer that with today's games in mind, especially with Spale, because they always bring the fight, and sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. But overall, in your opinion, how do you think it evolved?
I think this is actually quite like a much more historical question. Just because I don't want to go into a massive depth, but basically, World of Tanks is in its extreme infancy in terms of esports. We only have the World of Tanks Pro League starting this year. So in terms of how the game is played at the moment, for sure, just how the game is made, pushing onto a tanks. When you're just driving in a straight line because the tanks are going to be standing still, they can get the first shots off. So that obviously gives them advantage, and that's pretty much the essence of it. If you're moving, you get spotted. If you're staying still, you have less spotting checks, so you don't get spotted. So of course, the team that takes the initiative might be at a disadvantage. But as we can see, as we progress through the seasons, teams like Lucky Karaki, who perhaps would have been a good team towards the end of the last year, and then pretty much throughout competitive history in World of Tanks, which is pretty much only started in 2011/2012, they might have been a good team. But now we see Virtus Pro extremely aggressive. Team Dignitas extremely aggressive. They are two top place finishers. So Mouse Sports play aggressively. Spale just did fantastically. Dragon's Morn just did fantastically. It's just the game is changing. The game is changing a lot. The game will change more as Wargaming keeps on investing towards esports, and it will just continue like that. And I think honestly, the team that takes initiative, I always say it, will be the winners of the game ultimately, unless they screw it up. But then if they screw up,
It's about execution, not taking initiative.
Exactly. So if you screw it up, then you screw up, then you lose. But that's not because you took the initiative or not.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that answer. That was all for the last show of the second season of the relegation.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, no more Twitter questions so far.
No
but
more,
some
okay.
nice tweets, so it's worth a look. Go on our Twitter page, follow us, and have a look, roam through all the nice tweets people send us. And yeah, thank you very much for your participation at home. The cheerful contest winners, I can't show them over my PC, sadly, but I will just open a post on Facebook, facebook.com/WoT Pro League, and we'll announce all of them right now for you.
So worth keeping your eyes on, because there's a lot of gold up for that, isn't there?
It is. First place 5K, second place 3K, third place 1.5K, and fourth till sixth place still getting bonus codes.
Well, at least one of us can count. All I'm saying, 1 out of 3 ain't bad, right?
That's all right.
Yeah, it should
Well,
be good.
1 out of 5 because Stephen and Tim can't count
They're
anyway,
not
so.
in front of the camera, all right? They're not here. They're just the voices in our head. But anyway, guys, we've had a fantastic ride throughout this season. We've had some brilliant teams from the likes of Dignitas and WoT Pro really stepping up and exchanging blows very early on, and Dignitas proving their worth against WoT Pro especially. It was a very close game to call. It was one of my favorites, I think, seeing them proving themselves online as well as LAN, where a lot of people thought that, they beat WoT Pro because of the fatigue that they may have felt at the last LAN, and they really proved how much they've gotten better throughout the season, how they've learned to kind of challenge their opponent. And there's been so many standout games for me. I've got to ask you, what's one of your favorite games that we've seen this season?
It's my new fan favorite. It's D-Nova. I think it was. I think it might have been against Spale, but it was one of their games where they played it in Ruinberg, and I just thought, this team is really coming together. But generally, I've enjoyed pretty much all the matches, apart from last week's relegation. But that was last Monday's relegation. But that was just it doesn't even count as relegation.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a fantastic season. Season 2 is, I think, definitely stepped up for the teams. Everyone's improving. All the teams are improving. We've got new teams coming in, old teams coming out. Gamescom is coming up on the 24th to the 25th. So if you're not there to come in person and meet us and meet the teams and just enjoy the spectacle, that will be the WoT Pro League Season 2 finals, then join us on this channel. You're here now. You'll be able to watch all the games live, pretty much live, 10 minutes late. No, I don't think it's in 10 minutes late. It won't be any delay at all. So you'll be able to watch it live. And we're going to see if our top 6 finishers, which is Kaz and Crew, Evil Planner Squad, D-Nova, we've also got Mouse Sports, Team Ignis and WoT Pro, which one's going to take the 50,000 euros and who's going to take the biggest cut out of the 100,000 euros grand prize pool.
Well, he has just absolutely nailed the outro. So, ladies and gents, I hope you have enjoyed Season 2 of the WoT Pro League. And we're not quite over yet. We still have those finals, as you said, with the teams he said as well, because he's absolutely hammered that outro out. Did you write that down? I think he's got a script that I don't know about, and there's an auto cue around here somewhere. But anyway, guys, hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as we have. We've had a fantastic time. We've seen some great teams, and I can only imagine what we have in store for the finals. So, guys, make sure you follow this channel on Twitch. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, because we'll be talking about it for the days before, and maybe even the days afterwards. Who knows what we're going to be in for. But, guys, that's it from us here today. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. I know we have. Hopefully see you at the finals.